Hello everyone, my name is Firda Nirmala. Here I'm going to tell you about my English book report. The first thing that we're going to do is there's book identity, and then there's book settings, and then there's the reason why I'm choosing this book, and then there's characters and plot of this book, general opinion about this book, the best things I like about this book, the least thing I like about this book, my favorite quotation in this book, and would I recommend the book to the friends. The book that I chose is called Firda, which is by Colleen Hoover. It's a fiction novel with 336 pages, and it's really easy to read. And this is the book cover, which you can see. And then there's book settings. It contains three settings, which is time settings, place settings, and atmosphere settings. The time settings consist three parts, which is past, present, and future. The past shows about the past story around Jeremy and Verity from Verity's point of view. And then there's present, shows the main part of the stories. This is the time when all the important encounters and conflicts of the story occurred. And then there's future, this took time 7 months after the main story and where the plot twist occurred. And then there's place setting, there's Manhattan, New York. This is the city where Lowen and Jeremy met. And then there's crosswalk stop. This is where the book starts and Lowen witnessed a brutal accident. And then there's coffee shop restroom. This is where Jeremy tried to help Lowen with her blood-covered shirt and their first personal conversation. And then there's Lowen's apartment, where Lowen's and her mother lived before Lowen's moved to Jeremy's mansion. And then there's Phantom Press Building, floor 14. This is where Lowen and Jeremy met for the second time for a surprise meeting. And then there's Jeremy Mansion in Vermont. This is the main place where the main story took place, such as Verity's office, where Lowen found so much secret in there. Verity's nursing room, the kitchen, the main bedroom, and the basement, the lake, and the big yard. And then there's atmosphere setting, which is thrilling, romantic, mystery, suspense, dark, confusing, shocking, sad, tense, stress, heart-aching, horror, and fearful. And then there's reason why I'm choosing this book. The reason why I'm choosing this book are first, I know that Colleen Hoover is a great author that makes great books also. Colleen Hoover is one of my favorite American authors. So that is why I already know that I would choose one of the Colleen Hoover books. Before I set my eyes on this book, I was still contemplating on which books do I need to read. I knew that I want something different. I want something more than a romance of two people. I want something thrilling, dark, yet still has a romantic aspect to it. And after days of searching, I found this book, Verity. When I read this book, I found that this book is more than what I've been searching for. Also, there are so many interesting parts of this book, like betrayal, lies, affairs, and the psychology aspect. Colleen Hoover provides the reader with the psychology thriller genre in this book. After I read this book, I know that the mind of someone can be so evil, horror, and different from what they look like. At the end of the book, there's a plot twist that would make you question your whole read. You don't know what is wrong and what is right anymore. You don't know who is lying. You don't know who is the villain here. Because of that, I think this book is so amazing and so perfect for this assignment. Also, even though the storyline in this book is kind of scary and heavy, the words that Colleen Hoover chose for these books are still easy to read for me. So I guess this book can be a next level step for a beginner to learn English. An incredible book to read. Those are the reason why I chose this book for this assignment. And then there's characters. The characters in this book, they're Lowen Ashleigh, or you can call Laura Chase. She is the female protagonist, the female protagonist and struggle suspense thriller writer. And then there's Jeremy Crawford. He's the male protagonist, and he's the Verity's husband and a real estate agent. And then there's Verity Crawford, the best-selling author and Jeremy's wife. And then there's Crew Crawford. He's Jeremy and Verity's third child. And then there's Justin Crawford, Jeremy's and Verity's first child of the twins. And then there's Harper Crawford, Jeremy's and Verity's second child of the twins. And then there's Corey. He is Lowen's former boyfriend or ex, and Lowen's literary agent. And then there's April. She is Verity's first nurse. And then there's Myrna, Verity's second nurse. And then there's Amanda Thomas, an editor from Phantom Press. And then there's Baron Stephens. He is a lawyer that represents Jeremy's and Phantom Press. The next thing is the plot of the book. Verity is a romantic thriller novel written by Colleen Hoover in 2018, tells the story of the life of a struggle writer named Lowen Ashleigh around a married couple, Jeremy Crawford and Verity Crawford. The story starts when Lowen gets offered for completing the last 3 popular book series. The book series itself is written by the best-selling author, Verity Crawford. The reason why Lowen got offered is because Verity got into an accident that made her impossible to continue it. Verity's husband, Jeremy, is the one who offered Lowen to do this project. After a long discussion, Lowen finally accepts the offer, but because Lowen has to understand Verity's plan in order to write the last 3 books, therefore, Lowen had to go to Jeremy's and Verity's house to find information about the book series. At the Crawford mansion or house, Lowen found that turns out Verity is paralyzed. Lowen starts searching for information to write Verity's book series, which is called the novel Virtues, written from an antagonist point of view in Verity's office. But after a long time for searching Verity's notes for the series, instead Lowen finds an autobiographical manuscript reveals Verity's dark side and shocking truth. Lowen also has feelings that Verity is not actually paralyzed and just faking it. As Lowen continued to read the manuscript, she became subconsciously attracted to Jeremy. The manuscript itself is disturbing that Lowen is unsure to tell Jeremy about it or not. The manuscript shows that Verity is never loved their children because the fact of Jeremy loved them more than her. Verity was so hateful for the twins. Behind Jeremy's back, she often despised the kids and for being alive. Until Verity got a dream that Harper, one of the twins, was trying to kill Chastain, Harper twins. Because of that, Verity's become crazier and tried to kill Harper when she was still a baby. But fortunately, it was intercepted by Jeremy. One day, because of Chastain's allergy to peanuts, she ended dead at sleepover together with Harper in a friend's house. Because of that, Verity is so angry and regrets that she should have killed Harper that time when she was a baby. She admits later in her manuscript that she murdered Harper when they, Verity, Crew, and Harper, on a canoe. She purposely swung the canoe until it flipped over, then only saved Crew and left Harper drowned while stuck in the fishing net. Eventually, Lowen finally tells Jeremy about the manuscript. When Lowen tells Jeremy, he confronts Verity, who finally admits to faking it. From that, Jeremy is trying to kill Verity, but Lowen advises him to make it look like an accident. Verity is then killed. 7 months later, Lowen is pregnant with Jeremy and living in a new house far from the mansion. But they need to clean up the stuff in the old mansion because it is due to be sold off. When they clean out the stuff, Lowen later discovers a letter that contains Verity explanation for the manuscript before. She wrote that the manuscript is only her exercise to write her novels. She wants to try how to write from the antagonist's point of view, and all that she wrote in the manuscript is all lies. Reading that, Lois was shocked and destroyed the letter. However, Lowen is still unsure whether the words written by Verity in the letter are the truth or just Verity's ways to manipulate people around her, because Verity is very good at manipulating. That is the plot of the book. And next, there is my general opinion about the book. My general opinion about the book. This book talks about how Lowen Ashleigh, the protagonist in this book, found a sick truth from her love interest wife. This book doesn't have the final explanation at the end of the book. The last sentence of this book is the only question that remains is which is true. Was she manipulating? With that sentence, you can figure that the author does not give any truth whatsoever, which means the authors leaves the readers the freedom to decide what is the truth from the reader's perspective. And from my perspective, after reading the book and judging by how Crew Crawford, which is the son of Jeremy and Verity, was so traumatized, I believe that Verity is manipulating the letter, and I believe Verity is lying when she says she didn't kill her child. The book will make you understand that a person cannot be judged by only its look. I think that is why this book kind of represents the real life, because we don't know what other people think behind their faces. We don't know what other people feel about us. Is it a nice thing or a good thing or other bad things? We don't know exactly how. And I think that is what these books want to tell the readers. The manipulating attitude, obsessing over something, jealousy, cheating, hatred, lies, death, are things that somehow we found so much in real life. And when Verity is so helpful and despised to her children, it makes me realize that many moms in this world do not deserve children, and many children in this world deserve to have a better mom. Caring for your body is no different from caring for a child. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it sucks, sometimes you just want to give in. But if you do, you'll pay for the consequences 18 years down the road. The quotation from the book is so relatable yet so powerful, either in books or real life. And then, what do I like the best about this book, and what do I like the least about this book? There are so many things from this book that I love so much, such as how Colleen portrays each of the characters, how she chose the words, the way she creates beautiful yet thrilling scenes, and the most important is how Colleen creates this beautiful story across the book. I think Colleen wrote this book with so much consideration that I can feel it in this book. She makes this book look so dark and gloomy, yet she still puts some sun in it. Like the cute behavior of Crew, the romance between Jeremy and Lowen is the sun. And the way she writes the story makes me amazed. The changes from Lowen's present tense POV and Verity's manuscript build so much tension and excitement. The first time Colin showed the manuscript to the readers, it becomes addicting that I always get so excited to get to that manuscript chapter again. Besides that, this book makes you wonder. You don't know what is going to happen for the next chapters, and you don't know what to expect because this book is not the book that you can easily guess. And also because of that, I finished the books in one sitting. That's how good the book is. This book also has a nice, amazing cover, which you can see before. On the cover, you can see a person and its shadows with tangled yellow string all over the body. At first, I don't pay attention to the cover, but after I finish the book, I realized that the cover has meaning. Turns out the person who's on the cover is Harper Crawford, which you can remember. Harper Crawford died drowning and stuck with the tangled yellow fishing net. When I realized, it hits me on the spot and I was starstruck. And then, what do I like the least about the book? For this book, I don't really have anything big to complain about this book, but there are a few things that I feel pity for. For the first time in this book contains children abuse and family or mommy issues, and I'm afraid people who had experienced abuse or mommy issues in the past would open up a new wound if they read this. This book is not recommended to read for people with trauma. This book also contains lots of gruesome details that would make the readers feel uncomfortable sometimes. For example, in the first chapter of the book, the details of the main situation after it got hit is explained with such an imaginary words. And I would hope that Colin would give some CW at the beginning of the book, so people that have trauma won't get disturbed by it. Another thing that I don't like about this book is I always struggle reading it at night. Why? Because this book gives me chills and sometimes jump scare that I don't know it would be there. I know it's not the book's fault, but it's still one of my least favorite things about reading this book. I recommend people to read this book a day, especially if you get easily scared. The third thing that I don't like about this book is that there is so few romance scenes between Jeremy and Lowen. The development between their relationship is kind of rushed and added with the interlude of romance story between Jeremy and his wife Verity, where because of it, the development of romantic relationship between Jeremy and Lowen become a little marginalized. And then there's favorite quotation from the book. There are a lot of great quotation in this book. I think that's because this book has so much ugly reality in our life that sometimes we don't want to accept it. The first sentence that makes me know that this book is going to be amazing is a sentence that sounds, I think the idea of me is better than the reality of me. And then the second sentence is, no one is likable from the inside out. Both of that sentence is great because every person in this world has an ugly secret of themselves that sometimes they don't want anyone else to know and hate it for it. And then there's my third and my most favorite quotation is, it's what you do when you've experienced the worst of the worst. You seek out people like you, people worse off than you, and you use them to make yourself feel better about the terrible things that happen to you. That sentence is so real that sometimes we don't realize that we are doing it sometimes. For example, when you experience or receive something bad, you unconsciously are looking for someone who experienced the same thing or something worse than you to make yourself just kind of better. And then, would I recommend Vanity to my friends? Of course, 100% I would recommend this book to my friends. This book is so underrated compared to other Colleen Hoover books. Even though at first you would think that this book is only a normal romance book, eventually you would know that this book is so much more than that. This book contains a lot of suspense and dark scenes that would make you shiver through the night. Also, this book has easy words to understand, yet it's so hard to read. This book is so shocking and dark that would make you can't continue reading it. When you read this book, you're going to feel so much emotion in your body. The complicated parts of the books and scenes that happen in this book would blow your mind, make you confused, afraid of what's going on, what's going to happen next, anxious, and also curious. If you want some thrill in your reading and also need romance in it, this book is perfect for you. This book has mega plot twists that would make you clam up for 5 minutes. Even I was clam up for 5 minutes. I was shocked. Also, this book has so many life lessons. For example, when you read this, you will know that you don't know people just by looking at their experience and their public image. You will know that everyone in this world is trying to hide their ugly truth from others to see. The secret is a mysterious thing in this world. It's the thing that you always carefully take care of but also hate at the same time. This book also teaches you that you can turn back the time. Consequences are the twin of the action. I think that's all for me. I'm sorry if there's misspelling words or any other mistakes. Thank you so much and hope you have a nice day. Bye bye.